Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video, y'all. It's been a little while since I've done a video for you guys. I have not had the time. Um, like my life has been just, I feel like every area of my life has been consumed by something or someone. And so this is kind of the first break that I've had from everything outside of me, right? So I wanted to do this video. The topic of this video is dating older. And I just want to be clear. It's not just dating older, but it's the entire experience that I've had, right? And I'm over it. Okay. As a Pisces, I don't know if it's because I'm a Pisces or because I do have my own and I can stand on my own, that kind of makes me a bit hesitant to pursue this connection even further. In the beginning, the connection was cool. It felt like there were a lot of things rushed, but it also felt like the reason the dates were rushed, and what I mean by rushed is I had a date, I was going on a date at least twice, three times a week, okay, with the same individual. And a part of that was because I only had a limited amount of time to be able to give this person, right? Obviously, my schedule changed. My time that I'm able to give is still very limited. But now I have time during the day and at night, right? So things have kind of changed since the timing of like my schedule change with this person. So at first they were very consistent, very much planning, wanting to go out and go do something. And then here we get to the weekend and it's very much rushed. Like I feel like the dates are rushed. I feel like I'm being rushed to go to bed on a freaking Friday or Saturday. If I want to stay up, I should be able to do that. Like there's certain things that I feel like the dates have just gotten lazy. Okay. Just kind of more like, hey, you're, like not really much thought planned into them. And I also feel like a lot of the things that were said that we were going to go do, I showed very much interest in those things, right? Even if they weren't something that I do on a regular basis, I'm showing interest in wanting to learn about somebody else, showing interest in wanting to, engage in similar activities. Like I'm not against it. But I'm also realizing that a lot of that was talk, not really us going and doing these things like bike riding. I don't bike ride every day, but I'm not against bike riding, right? If I really wanted to, I could go buy my own freaking bike, right? And we can go bike riding. The activity was suggested, but not actually done. Big turn off, right? Certain suggestions were made in terms of, hey, we're gonna go do X, Y, and Z, and this is what I want to go do. And okay, I'm down for it. Okay, I've never done these things. That doesn't mean that I'm not up to go do them, right? Um, and so the lack of really like investing real energy and time into the connection is a huge turnoff, right? We're not even 3 months in, and I'm already like, okay, this is boring. And as a woman, like my life is pretty boring, but if I want to go do something, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to go do it. Right. And so I don't know. It's a turn off when a person can't keep their word. And then a ton of assumptions have been made about me without me like speaking, without me saying anything, without my input. And that's very a big turn off. Like when a man assumes he knows me, and it's like, bro, you don't know nothing about me. You haven't even asked me one question. Like, you haven't even tried to see if you fit into my reality just as much as I'm trying to fit into yours. Like I'm not the girl. Like this is the thing. I got my own shit going, right? I'm not really the girl to deal with a man that's not really trying to get to know me, right? I've been there, done that, but I feel like as a woman, in order to be happy, the man has to have a genuine interest in getting to know the woman. If it's all about him, what he wants, his world, his reality, everything is about him, 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 it gives very little room for me to be able to share who I am. And while I want a relationship, I may want to be married. I can't tell sometimes. Cuz I ask myself if I could see myself with this person, and I could not at the rate that he's going, right? It's just not going to work long term, right? And I'm not the girl that's willing to marry a man for his money, meaning that you're not going to put me up as your little trophy wife or your little fucking doll, your play toy. And I'm just going to be comfortable with a lifestyle that you quote unquote provide. Like, that's not how I'm built. That's not how I'm wired, right? If a man wants me to be a partner with him, cool. We could be partners. You know what I mean? But partnership is an equal give and take. I'm not a chick that needs a man. So when men operate, it's like this man is asking me to not need him, but in the same breath, really doesn't know how to deal with a woman who does not need him. And there's no level of value that this man has really offered to me outside of nitpicking at what he thinks I should and should not be doing. For example, he has an iPhone, I have a Samsung, right? Now, my Samsung is a 23 Ultra Galaxy Samsung, right? I could go get the 24, but I'm trying not to, right? And so my thing is, I understand for iPhone users, iPhones are great, but my phone costs just as much as your phone, right? My camera works just as well as your camera, right? And certain things may be a little bit different, but the reality of the Apple and the Samsung is that honestly, it's a different brand, but the quality of the Samsung phone has caught up, if not surpassed, the iPhone. And I understand to iPhone users, it's all about class and, ooh, like we've got money. If my phone costs as much as your phone, if I'm paying as much as on my phone as you're paying on your phone, I'm not understanding how that makes a difference, right? It's a preference at that point. It's not really one is, ooh, it's so much more classier. No, sorry. But nitpicking at stuff like that, like, oh, if I'm gonna be seen with you, you gotta level up. Okay. That's how you feel. Like these are the little comments that have been said. And I'm thinking, why are you with me if I'm not the girl that you really want? Why are you dealing with me? Like, you can go about your own life. So I am done. Like, and I want to be clear. To me, high value, yeah, you got money, but how you treat a woman and how you make a woman feel about herself is everything. It's everything. So because I've had to retreat back to myself and in my reality, because every weekend I've had off, since I've had it off, I've been spending with him instead of being in my own space and in my own reality. I feel like I'm coming home on a Friday night. I should be able to chill, do what I want to do on a Friday. I come home, he trying to rush me to hurry up and get to his house and within a 30 to hour time frame, 30 minutes to an hour. I just got home. I want to take time for me. So I've been taking time for me. One, because that's a necessity. Like that's for me to keep going and not lose my fucking mind, bro. I gotta pour into me, especially when nobody else is doing it. Taking me to go eat at restaurants, that's not pouring into me. Like that's making me fat. That's it's not pouring into me. Okay. So I said, you know what? Instead of taking the time to go spend with this person, and it was very interesting because They wanted me to go on an activity with them that really mattered to them. And as a good woman, I did, right? I was like, okay, I'm going to do this with you, right? Then I had something that mattered to me because it is very much my reality when I'm doing things for me, right? And the person found a way to make an excuse to not show up at the last minute. Okay, cool. Okay. So, and let me be clear, right? The day before, the person hit me up. They went and did whatever they had to do. I had some things I needed to take care of. So I went and did that, right? I ended up taking a nap. My naps are pretty long. I don't do hour, 30 minutes naps. Sometimes my naps can be like 3 or 4 hours because I'm that tired, obviously. So I took a nap at around like 1:40 something, woke up at like 2:30, maybe more like 4 or whatever, went back to bed, right? But in the process, I seen the individual texting me and I was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm doing, they asked me how I was doing and I literally said, "Well, you?" question mark. The person then took that as me being upset or me being angry or whatever, instead of just, hey, maybe she's in, like, I told him, I said, well, I'm taking a nap. Like, my bad. Like, first of all, I didn't say my bad. When I woke up, I said, well, yeah, I just woke up. I just seen your text. You texted me at this time. Took a nap. I responded quickly. It probably was 2 words, but just reminding the person I was sleeping. Like, okay, your mind jumped to X, Y, and Z. And I just took a nap in my house, in my space. I should be able to do that. Right. So then I said, well, you know what? I didn't hit you back because what they told me was, well, I didn't want to reach out again. I tried to communicate with you. That's not fucking communication. Like, if that's what you call communication, then okay, you're going to lose with me big time because I would rather a person ask questions than assume shit. Right. So that's what they told me. And I was just like, well, I assumed you were just busy. Like, as a man, if you're the one who wants me, how I'm seeing it, and you don't hit me up, my assumption is that you're busy. Okay, then be busy. Like, I'm not the girl that's about to chase you and, oh, what you doing? No, I assume that I'm not hearing from you because you are busy. And if that's the case, then fine. Next day, the individual doesn't show up for the thing that I planned for us to go do for like a whole week. He knew about it. Doesn't show up, whatever. Tells me at the last minute. To me, is a disrespect. It tells me how you feel about me, and I need to really rethink the power dynamics because as a woman, I have just as much power in this relationship as a man. I may diminish my power a little bit to make you feel like you have all the power, but at some point as a woman, it's like, do I really feel like I want to be given to a man that whenever he wants to not engage, he will find a way to not engage? So am I going to really waste my time with this? Like, I feel like if I show up for you, you should show up for me. If it means something to me, and you care about me, you should show up. If you cancel on me, okay, cool. Canceling on me at the last minute is a lack of respect. I don't care how you look at it, right? So then I'm like, okay, all week I notice, certain messages that were consistent are no longer consistent. Okay, cool. Then he gonna text me talking about I miss you, yada yada yada. Okay, I miss you too. Like, I can play that game too. It's just words because that's what we're just doing right now. We're just playing word games at this point. So I miss you too. You excited to see me? Of course, right? Are you excited to see me? Crickets. Okay. So Friday he hits me up yesterday And I'm at work. I'm thinking, like, do I even really like I want to pour back into myself. I'm tired. I've been dealing with a kid that don't respect me. Like, I'm dealing with a lot of different shit. Changes, right? In terms of my life, the things that I got going on, what I want to do, where I want to go, stuff like that. Like, I'm processing all this in my head. And for me, if I can't process this with someone, I'd much rather be alone because I can process it for myself, right? I don't need someone telling me what to do. I don't need someone assuming they know what I'm trying to say or how I'm feeling or whatever. I would much rather just figure this out on my own, right? So when I get off of work, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give myself enough time to basically go home, go do my what I need to do, and decide if I want to go spend my Friday night with this individual. I didn't even get home. By the time I got home, I got a text message telling me, "Well, you haven't responded." The man hit me up at like 3:45. I'm at work. I work every day until 5 o'clock. So if I'm not responding, and I especially if we haven't been in conversation all day, it's because I'm busy. Well, since I haven't at 5 o'clock, maybe 5:13 or 5:20 something, I had got home at like 5:30 something, right? Well, since you haven't responded, my assumption, well, I'm assuming that means that you don't want to hang out or whatever. I'm a grown ass woman. If I didn't respond to you immediately, the natural assumption should be, hey, she's at work. Hey, she just got off of work. Maybe she's in traffic. Let me wait to hear her response. Not assuming that I don't want to see you. That is a huge turnoff. Like, that is a turnoff. So as a woman, I'm not going to argue with you, especially when you're dealing with a man who claims he don't like arguments. Okay, cool. Well, then fine. What I told him was when I got home and finally was able to respond to the text message, I said, well, I just got home. You didn't even ask me how my day went. I just got home. But because what he told me was have a good night. Okay, cool. And so I went on and did my own thing. I'm assuming the conversation's over. I don't hear from this individual until like 7:30 at night. 7:30. Talking about, do you want to meet me at your house? No. I assumed what you said was have a good night. You assumed that I didn't want to see you. I guess in his mind, as a woman, I'm supposed to be like, oh, but I do want to see you, blowing up his phone and shit. No, you ain't put that kind of work into the relationship. Like, I've only known this person for like 2 months. You ain't put in enough work for me to be like, oh, baby, how come you didn't, I'm not going to be doing all of that. I'm a grown ass woman, right? I'm just saying, like, so if you tell me have a good night, you didn't even give me a chance to explain myself. You didn't give me a chance to respond. You didn't even ask me how my day was. You weren't even considerate enough to ask me, how's life going? How are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Right? How was your day? But you all automatically assume that I don't want to see you and to have a good night. Okay, cool. I guess that was supposed to do something for me. I don't know what. But as a woman, I'm looking at all that shit as red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. And this man has no idea. He's just acting the way he feels like he should be acting. And I'm sitting back just watching. I haven't said much of shit. I'm just observing the behavior and making decisions based upon how this man behaves when he thinks he's not getting his way. So I haven't heard from this man because now I told him, I said, well, no, I'm not, and realistically, who I get it's a Friday, right? But it's one thing if you're asking me if I want to get up and get out. That's one thing. If you want to hang out with me at your house while you lounging around in your comfortability in your house, in your space, I could be doing the same thing in my space. So why would I want to meet up with you at 7 o'clock? Then on top of it, the man does trucking. He's a trucker, right? So as a trucker, you got to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not trying to, like, for real. I want to sit and chill and relax. That's it. That's it. So for me, it's more about my mental health, about my peace, about my sanity, about my reality, right? So when I said no, I don't want to meet up with this individual at 7:30 at night. Well, it would have been 8 o'clock. That's okay. It's not like the man done put in time to where I feel like I'm obligated to do something for him. Like, okay, you spent money on my daughter. Like, nobody told you to do that. You did that. Appreciate it. But I had it. He did it anyway. Okay, cool. It ain't something that I like. There's certain things I think that men got to understand. How you treat a woman and how you make a woman feel is everything. So what this man sends me is good to hear. Why would you send me that? Like, what's the point in sending me that? I would have just been like, okay, well, have a good night. Like, why good to hear? Exclamation mark. That tells me that you're happy that you don't want to see me. That's my assumption. So I woke up this morning, I got no good morning text, right? Just very petty, a lot of assumptions made, not asking questions, not mature enough to ask the right questions or even have that conversation. And if he is mature enough, he just don't care enough. So as a woman, I have no other option but to exit the situation, to end the connection, end the conversation, and it doesn't need to be a whole lot of rah-rah. Like, especially if you're not even asking me questions, then I don't even need to talk. So at that point, if I'm disappearing or if the connection dissipates, it's because the man is not doing his part, not because I need to do more, right? And so for me, I'm letting the assumptions be what they are, because the fact that the assumptions are even being made, and the man should know at 2 months in, you don't know a person, you know nothing about me. So instead of asking the hard questions, I'm going to assume and I'm going to do whatever is necessary to push you away. As grown adults, we don't get second chances. Like, it's not on me to make it more easier for you to have this conversation. Like, if it's impacting you so much so, me not being around you or whatever, impacting you to the point, and I don't really think it's about me not being around him as much as it is control. So as a woman, I can sit and argue with a man like that, or I can say, you know what? You're not putting in effort to even understand why I feel the way that I feel, or why I've been so distant, or why, like, you're not even trying to put an effort to even ask the fucking question. You're just making assumptions because I didn't answer the phone on time. I'm not dealing with no man like that, bro. I'm not. So this situation is over. It sucks because as a woman, you always, when you entertain something, you want it to work, right? But the reality of it is, a person is not who they really claim they are. And I think some men have a hard time of understanding how women could walk away and not really be supportive of who they are. But it's like, if you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to show up and be mature in situations, about situations, and again, it could have everything to do with not caring, which means that my response is the most appropriate response for this situation. um that's cool, you know. So I took myself out. I bought my own self some flowers. I was feeling a bit down this week. I bought myself some flowers. I didn't have to talk about it. I did it for myself. Obviously I went and got my nails done, y'all. I haven't gotten them done in a while, and I just went with the regular French tip. But these are my actual nails, which is cool because they all haven't been the same length at the same time in a long time because I was wearing acrylics. So I'm glad that my nails were able to get back to the way that I needed them to be. I got me a pedicure. I feel good. I feel great. So that's my little story time for today, y'all. Just another dating fail. But outside of that, y'all, I've been having a great time. Just really trying to figure out where I want to go in the direction of my career and my success. I'm still doing great. Want to move, want to figure some things out. So that's kind of where my mind space is at. But outside of that, y'all, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'm out. Peace.